Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, October 15th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. Lot to discuss, but please, I'd like to really thank our sponsor, Loud Interactive. Check them out at loud.us. The firm is led by Brett D. Payne. They're a Chicago-based SEO firm, so if you need any help in SEO, advice, or whatever, even professional SEOs, check them out. Appreciate Loud. Also, tons of stuff to discuss, like I just said before. Last weekend, the Google algorithm update unconfirmed. A lot of signals potentially this week around the possible Google update. I'll get into that a little bit later. I'm not sure if it was a Google update or not, or maybe some UI changes. Google released some new help docs on titles and snippets. Google has released a new UI, a bunch of new UI things. One is continuous scroll on mobile. Another one is around features snippets and knowledge panels and a wide design with buttons and so forth. Discuss that more and so much more. So definitely stay tuned. All right, so first up, this past weekend, we spotted yet another Google search ranking algorithm update. With this one, there was definitely chatter as well as tools showing significant updates as well. Google did not confirm it. What was interesting is I actually plotted, and I'll embed it here, all the past 2 months of updates, what were actually weekday versus weekend. And a lot of them are on the weekend, and I color-coded them here so you could see. Very interesting. And also, there's significant chatter and around a possible Google update over the past weekend. Specifically, we saw the changes around October 9th, 10th, 11th, mostly 9th and 10th. So if you saw any changes around there, you were not alone. There were a bunch of people who saw changes on the 9th and 10th of October. Now, also, we saw some changes or reported changes by the tools. Not all the tools, like Moz saw it, SEMrush and so forth, but Rank Ranger did not and some others did not. And the question was there a Google update over the past couple days, like Wednesday, Thursday or so of this past week, October 12th maybe, but October 13th and 14th. And the answer is I'm not sure. Some of the tools picked it up significantly, some did not. I'm thinking it has to do maybe with this new feature snippet rollout, which I'll talk a little bit later, as well as the continuous scrolling update. So we'll see. Also, according to Moz, 40% of the search results now have that indented UI for results from the same domain. We covered this numerous times. Google was testing it, and it seems to be fully rolled out now. It's like 40% of the search results actually have that. All right, now Google released 2 new help docs late Friday. Basically, not exactly new, but they broke out the snippet doc to discuss. One is just titles, how to manage your titles in Google search, and the other one is just how to manage your descriptions or snippets in Google search. With the new doc, pretty much one new thing came out of it, or a couple of small things, but the big thing is Google's now calling the title of the snippet the title link. So we have a definition, a term for the actual hyperlink, the link, which I'm pointing to here in the actual snippet. It's called a title link. What was moved is they moved a single help document to 2 individual help documents. They defined the new term called title link, which I just discussed. They provided more details and how to come up with a title link and how could you actually encourage Google to use it. And they added examples of how Google may adjust title links going forward. So that's what's new there. The rest are kind of old, so don't worry about it too much. It's definitely a good read. Google responded to the complaints around why is Google saying crawled, not indexed errors when the URL inspection tool shows that it's indexed. And Google responded to those complaints. We talked about those complaints, I think, a couple months ago, and it's been going on forever. The short answer is it's just a delay. The crawled, not indexed status report, the report there, the crawl stats report is delayed, whereas the URL inspection tool is kind of real-time or almost real-time, much more up-to-date. Because of that, Google said, it's fine. Just use the URL inspection tool as the go-to if you're seeing this issue. Otherwise, it's just delayed, and the other report should update a few days later to be in sync with the URL inspection tool. Google yesterday afternoon around noon said they're starting to roll out on mobile search continuous scrolling. And continuous scrolling is not infinite scroll. It doesn't go on infinitely. It goes up, you can scroll the search results for about 4 pages of search results before it gives you the see more button to load more search results. So that is actually starting to roll out in the US English results right now, and it probably will expand to other countries as well in the future. But right now it's pretty much just the US. And I think maybe that has triggered some things. I'm not exactly sure. Google Search is also testing rotating product images in the snippets. So we've seen AR and 3D images where you can actually click on it and it will actually load a new way to see that product in your house and using AR. But now Google's actually showing in the actual snippet itself, you can actually rotate the image in the actual snippet, which is pretty cool. Google search is also rolling out, it seems like, the new knowledge panel / feature snippet design, which is a wide design where the whole top of the header is taken up by the whole entire page. But they're also adding these buttons at the top, which we saw on mobile for many, many months. It's now in sync with mobile, where it has these buttons that you can actually click on, as opposed to them having on the left-hand side or on the other place. Now it's actually buttons across the top, which seems to be rolled out fully. I see it for almost every single search result, especially knowledge panel. Google also has released podcast knowledge panels. So if you have a podcast, there are most podcasts that I'm aware of are showing this new podcast knowledge graph, which is pretty cool. Google made a slight tweak to the performance report where you may see a spike in data, but you most likely will see a spike in data if you fall in this category, where if you are a news publisher and you could filter the Google performance report, main report, by news, and also then filter it by good page experience, you'll see a spike there. Google said this is due to a logging change. You may see an increase in the number of clicks and impressions for good page search appearance for the news search type of filter. It doesn't reflect any changes to actual search results. It's just a way they changed how they log that data. Also in the Google Search Console changes is that the rich results errors report, or the status report, may show an increase in errors due to how they evaluate the changes there. So basically Google said, starting on October 18th, which is next week, I guess, Search Console has changed the way it evaluates and reports errors in job posting structure data. As a result, you may see an increase in the number of job entities and issues reported for your property, as well as a change in the severity of some of the issues from errors to warnings. So if you are doing job postings, next week you may see some changes there in terms of the rich results report. I definitely recommend you take a look at those and fix them, because Google's giving you more granular information there to work on. John Mueller said that using a popular WordPress theme, just because hundreds of other websites use the same WordPress theme, doesn't mean you'll rank lower. Google doesn't really care about the design or the theme of the site. It's more about the content, navigation, and so forth. So don't worry about using a popular WordPress theme. It's really about your content. You don't want to have repetitive content, or duplicate content, but you want to duplicate WordPress themes are fine according to Google. Google's John Mueller also said just because something might be basic doesn't make it easy. He said basic SEO is not necessarily mean that it's easy SEO. And that's the principle with anything. I mean, obviously, adding title tags is not a hard thing to do. Making sure you have a good URL structure is not a hard thing to do. But it could be hard when the site is massive. It could be very challenging. It's a very basic concept. Make good title tags. Make a good URL structure. Make sure you have the words on the page that you want to rank for. That is basic SEO, but it doesn't make it easy to implement across all sites. Some sites might be really, really hard to implement on. And John Mueller also said that SEO is all about not making the search engines read your mind. Two good quotes there. I enjoyed that one, and so forth. Microsoft Bing is testing search results with light bulbs on it. And when you click on the light bulb, it opens up more information, insights about that specific search result snippet. Pretty cool way of doing it. I can't replicate it, but it is being tested. Google is testing also in the Google search suggestions, the autocomplete and mobile when you type, it actually is testing customized query-based, query-defined footers. So one of the examples was Buddhism, and it actually showed images at the footer of basically in the Google logo of that, as well as Islam and so forth, which is pretty cool. Here's the screenshots of that. Google is testing 2 local screen ads directly in the local results. This is from one, so I guess Google's putting more and more ads there. And also Google's testing, that actually came from Ben Fisher, and then Andy Simpson noticed that Google's testing scrollable reviews carousels in the actual local pack as well in the screen results, which is pretty cool. Microsoft Advertising launched Smart Pages, basically a website builder for advertisers, a couple months ago. But now you don't have to be an advertiser to use it. You can just use it. It also actually integrated with Bing Places. So if you have Bing Places, you can actually integrate that website with it. And finally, Peter Norvig, who's been with Google for, I think, about 20 years now. He's currently the director of R&D at Google. He also was the director of search quality at Google for, I don't think for a long time, but for a period of time. But he ran our R&D at Google, one of the main personalities at Google for many, many years. He is scaling back his efforts. He's still going to be affiliated with Google, but he's scaling back his efforts at Google, where he's going to spend most of his time at Stanford, pretty much doing at the Human-Centered AI Institute, which is pretty interesting and pretty cool. I guess, he's been around for a while. He's really smart. I guess he wants to move on and do something new, but he's not losing his affiliation with Google, which is very, very interesting. Any event, thank you so much for listening to the Search Boss video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz. This is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SERoundtable.com over the past week. Again, today is Friday, October 15th. Thanks to Loud. Check them out at loud.us. Everyone have a great weekend and see you guys next. Goodbye.